Welcome back to the channel. This is the Action Figure Grader, and we got kind of a potpourri of different items to show you. Mainly loose graded figures. I've got some ungraded figures. I've got some vehicles. Just kind of a nice assortment of items as I clean out my watch list to show you some recent prices for vintage Star Wars toys. I got a couple of shout outs I need to give. First, a new Patreon, Rowan Bridge. Thank you so much for becoming a Patreon supporter. Really appreciate the channel support. And I also did receive a recent super from my buddy and Patreon supporter, Jim Walsh. So thank you, Jim, so much for the recent super that you sent for one of my videos. Thanks to all my Patreon supporters for supporting the channel. All right, we've got some pretty awesome items here. Let's take a look. Let's go with the Burger King displays that I had in a what to buy video here recently. These were really cool. I just like the art on them. I hadn't seen these before, so I had no idea what they were worth. One of them sold for cheap, relatively, this one, and then the other one sold for insane money. So it's just, you have no idea if you don't follow these store display items like me. I have no idea what it was going to go for. So this is one that was called a Translight store display, and so it looks like some kind of display for the windows at Burger King's. And it's got a very kind of rudimentary Luke, Leia, and Han from Endor, along with those awesome Burger King glasses that we all collected growing up. At least I did. I loved those things growing up. The final sales price on that was $190.50, but here was the big one. This one was an actual counter display that had holes in the top to put in the various Burger King glasses. So a different glass each week. Collect all four, buy a medium or large Coke, and get a glass for 5 cents. Very, very, very cool. Oh, 55 cents, excuse me. I did the same thing during the what to buy video. 55 cents. This one sold for $15.25 on 41 bids. So clearly this is one that was viewed as very desirable. It looked to be in really great condition. Basically perfect to just display, given the shape of it. So really nice display. $15.25, big number on that one. On to the more kind of standard figures. This was an AFA 85 plus Taiwan Boba Fett that sold at auction, $371.66. That used to be what a standard 85 would go for, about $350. This one was an 85 plus. That one sold for $371. I would say an 85 grade, not an 85 plus. 85 grade, you might get as low as $275, but I would budget about $300 for an AFA 85 Taiwan Boba Fett. For the standard Hong Kong, they seem to be going between $225 and $250 in that ballpark. Next up, this was a cool display. Not as high of a grade as maybe some people would like, but it was a 75 loose graded Boba Fett Hong Kong displayed in front of a very tough to find free 9-num offer 48 back transition card, Return of the Jedi card back. So this particular card back is tough to find for Boba Fett. We did see one that sold, I don't remember when, but it was at auction. It was either CIB that had one or maybe Lee's Toy Review had one. I'm just going on memory. And it sold for insane money, like $3,000 plus. This one sold for $378, but again, it's just the card back with a loose figure graded 75 from CAS. I like how they do this. It's a nice display option if you've got harder to find card backs or foreign card backs with the correct foreign figure, like Lily Letty's or Top Toys, stuff like that. It really is a nice display. Next up, Star Wars Daddy, fellow YouTuber and a buddy of mine and Patreon supporter. He had some items for sale. I didn't include everything. I just wanted to show a few. This was a UKG 80% Wampa. You could make an argument that it was definitely overgraded or it had yellowed since grading. It was very yellow for the arms and torso and head relative to the legs. $117.50. It seems like the market discounted it a little bit. And then here was a 75 grade Droid Factory R2-D2, $227.50 on that one. Very fair prices. Make sure to follow Star Wars Daddy both on YouTube as well as on eBay because he's always listing stuff for sale, both graded and ungraded. Here was a beauty. This was the Spanish POC Red Eyes IG88 from the Muffin Man over in the UK. It was graded UKG 85%. POC Red Eyes, and it It was listed for 495 pounds. It sold for 425 pounds, which is 552 US dollars. That's about what I paid for mine as well. So very fair price there. And here was, I had two different no COO Princess Leia's that sold. So these would appear on like Tri-Logos or Palatoys. This one was a UKG 85. Beautiful figure, very clean. 225 on that one. And then here was another one that sold $225 pounds for that one as well. Both of these were different serial numbers from UKG, so they were different figures. So nice examples for 225 pounds, which is about 291 US dollars. This was a really tough figure to find. This is the painted legs Han Solo small head. And you can see there on the bottom of the feet, he was showing that it is indeed the painted legs version of Han Solo, graded 85%. It doesn't say painted legs on the UKG label, although it probably should, because AFA does break it out between molded legs and painted legs. The painted legs for the small head Han is extremely tough to find, and this one did sell in a make an offer situation for 200 pounds, which is 260 US dollars. I've seen AFA 85s go for over $600 before, so I thought that was a really good deal for a UKG 85% painted legs small head Han. They had a PBP leather cape Darth Vader Spanish PBP UKG 90% gold level. Very tough to get us any Spanish figure in a 90 grade. That one sold for 225 pounds, which again was 291 bucks. And then Brian's Toys had a few nice items for sale. This was an AFA 90 letter on saber hilt Darth Vader. And this one was a Hong Kong, obviously. $430. I mean, you know, a 90 grade Darth Vader, I'm sure, is not that scarce on the population report, but it's also not easy to find a 90 grade. AFA grades extremely, extremely tight, and to get anything 90 grade from these vintage Kenner toys is a really tough thing to do. So $430 in an auction, pretty good deal there. They had an AFA 80 made in China Zuckus baggie. This is the most common, if not the only, Zuckus baggie that I know of. It's always that made in China baggie. That one sold for $102.50. And then they had a Yoda Brown Snake AFA 85. That one sold for $285. Pretty decent deal there. This is not the Apple head. It's just kind of weird lighting on it. The Apple head Yoda would go for a lot more. We did document one that sold, and I forgot the final sales price, but it was a lot, like over $600 if memory serves. So this is just the standard brown snake Yoda Hong Kong, $285 on that one. This was another really good buy it now option. This was a UKG 85% Lily Letty Yoda. This one did sell, and it was a beauty, 450 US dollars. That was located here in the US. A baggie for a Monomon. This was ungraded, but it was the correct baggie, tape sealed for a Monomon. This obviously appeared in the Jabba the Hutt Dungeon playset second version that included last 17 figures, Barada, EV99, and then, of course, a Monomon. That one sold in an auction for $315. Good deal there, which makes me even more shocked as to how I got mine. I have an AFA 85 for this baggie, and it sold in an auction from Gold Star Tech, that seller that we know, and we're going to cover here in a second. The AFA 85 sold for less than what this one sold for, so it was kind of a crazy thing. Next up, speaking of Gold Star Tech, I didn't realize they were coming up so quickly, but there were a couple of different Poppies that sold, one from Gold Star Tech, one from CIB. This one is an ungraded Luke Bespin, a Japanese Poppy. This one sold for $740. Although it is grade quality, it was just in a sliding acrylic case for $740. And then CIB had a AFA 85 Japanese Poppy for Han Solo. This one was just displayed with all the contents inside the box. $1102 was the final sales price on that. AFA 85. To me, I prefer this display style just because you can see all the cool contents that were inside. But this one just has the box, and $1102, the box with the contents inside. So $1102 on that one. Back to Gold Star Tech to round things out. We had a loose complete blue snaggletooth, not graded, but probably about a 75 grade. It did have some wear to the hands, to the boots, and then obviously the torso was very slightly discolored. It's not much, but you can kind of see it there. It's a little bit darker greenish shade to the torso relative to the legs and to the arms. $321 on him. They had some qualifiable grading vehicles for sale. This is the Y-Wing in really good shape. Unused contents, unused sticker sheet with the insert. So you could put all this together, send it to the grading companies for qualified Q grading. That one sold for $455. Same thing for the Rancor Monster. That one sold for $411. This one would be a good candidate for qualified grading. And then this one was already graded. This is a mint and sealed box, Return of the Jedi Jabba the Hutt action playset for an AFA 80. That one sold for $710. It seems like the Jabba the Hutt playset used to be like $500-600 in an 80 grade. This one has moved up a little bit, it seems like. Maybe it's because the Vintage Collection version has released and people are trying to, you know, I don't know, relive their childhood or complete it. I don't know. But it does seem like the Jabba the Hutt action playset, whether it's the line art version or the Sears, you know, the Sears line art, you know, some people say it's not Sears. It's just like a overstock type of thing. The Kenner Canada version, we saw one of those sell recently, or obviously just the standard US version for $710 for that one. And then finally was a Droids lightsaber. This was an AFA 75, the green lightsaber. There is also a Droids red lightsaber. This one was an AFA 75. Here it's a qualified grade, and that one sold for $615. There was an AFA 80 example that CIB had at auction a while back that sold for around $800 or $900, and about the same price for an AFA 80 for the red lightsaber. That was a few months ago, so I'm going on memory, but it was around that price, around $800 or $900. This one was obviously a qualified grade 75 for $615 in an auction. So good price there. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this kind of wide look at, you know, it's not all kind of a theme sometimes. And this is a good potpourri example of different items that were in my watch list that I wanted to cover in a video for you guys. Thank you as always for watching. Please leave me a like, and I'll be back soon.